Hi y'all. Hi everybody. It's Kimberly here. Thank you for coming to my channel. Hope everybody's doing well. Today I'm gonna start a series about bad bosses. I've had a lot of bad bosses, and I've had a lot of good bosses too. But I think I have a list. I was trying to make a list of all the places of all the horrible bosses. I have a list, and I could probably add probably 5 or 6 more to this. But I was trying to think where to start. I think I'm gonna start with the job that I had for the job I have now. I love, and I like my boss. I have a really good boss. And before that, well, as some know, I did work for DoorDash, which they stole my DoorDash card and I had to cancel it. And DoorDash doesn't have a very good customer service system for employees. There's a lot of communication issues, and I just don't like. Some of it's not very good. I don't know how it is on the customer end, but on this end, I've had some issues trying to deal with him. So I just kind of gave up on getting my card back, and then I finally got it reordered about a week ago, so I should be getting it any day now. And I'm probably going to do that on the weekends, maybe occasionally. I don't want to do it full time because it was really hard on my car, so I don't want to put too much wear and tear on my car anymore. But because the job I have already, it's a long drive to where I'm going, but it's all highway miles. But I might get back into the DoorDash a little bit. But before I did all that, I worked at a nursing home, and a lot of I worked in the housekeeping department, and a lot of nursing homes, they don't pay very good, and this one didn't either. And specifically for certain jobs, if you have a nursing degree, or that's different. If you have skills like a doctor or nurse or something like that, then they can pay pretty good. But for the other positions, sometimes they're not very good at the pay. And I worked with this lady that was my boss, and at first she was really nice to me, and she saw how I worked, and I was a really hard worker, and I really do, my best when I get at a job. I tried to just do my job. That's what they're paying you for. So that's what I put myself into, and whenever I'm doing my job. And the people that I worked with, some of them were lazy. I would say there's probably one or two, at least there's one that was really lazy, and more like two of them that were pretty lazy. And I was in housekeeping, and we have to clean so many rooms per day, and you have to be pretty fast at it, but you've got to do it well, because this is the place where people live. The residents that live there, that's their home, and it's a place where, they're going to stay to the end of their life, and it needs to be comfortable, and it needs to be, with dignity for them. And you have to do a lot of things on your job, to accommodate the resident and still be able to get your job done. And two of the people I worked with one of them did nothing but stand there and talk. Even the residents, everybody complained about him. And then this other lady was not nice. She was like really rude, and just, a really mean-spirited person. And those are the two kind of people you don't want working in a nursing home. People who don't do their job, because that place has to be clean. Like, what's happening now, I can't imagine if I still work there in this pandemic. And my boss wasn't good at delegating her authority, and she was not, she kind of pandered to these people, because she was like she was scared of kind of like to have to fire somebody, or really, really situate a problem. She just didn't want to do it. And we had so many incidents, and this lady that was rude was constantly getting into it with people. Me and her got into it because she would come in 10 or 15 minutes late, and then she would yell and scream. There was 3 specific like startups that we did in the morning to get equipment ready and stuff like that. 3 things, and there's 3 of us on the shift. You just picked one of the 3, you did it, and then you took your cart and you did your regular specific cleaning. We had, specific areas, and we divided up every day. And you just knew, and she would come in, and she didn't like the way I would do things, but I did it, in the best way for me, because I was the one doing it. She never showed up. And if she, or was always late, and if she wanted to do it, she should have showed up and picked the job and did it. But she didn't do that. She would come in late every day and criticize and yell and act, like just the worst person. She's one of the worst people I've ever worked with, too, as a coworker. And so my boss was not good at handling these situations. And then she would try to, like, I don't want to say manipulate, but in a way but I knew she was doing it to get me for me to, like, tell them things or get them to do things, like, as if it came from me, my idea. And I can't stand it when a boss does that. If you're going to be the boss, you have to have the backbone to tell people what to do and how to do it and make sure they do it. That's their job. That's why the rate of pay is different. You get paid a little bit more. And I didn't want to do it, but I kind of did in a way. And then after a point, I told her, I told her what I just said. I said, no, I mean, just go tell them. Make them do it. Make them do it. You're their boss. Make them do it. And if they don't want to do it, then get rid of them, And she was like, she had this thing with her eyes that she would do this crazy eye thing. And the first day I met her, she kind of was doing that. And I was like, and this, there can be signs of mental illness with people with eye twitches. And it's not, it doesn't tell you that somebody's mentally ill, but some mentally ill people do have twitches in their eyes. And I don't want to say it's a sign of mental illness. The way that I read it when I was looking it up, because I kind of thought that, there's physical signs, because I've been around somebody who's mentally ill, and they have physical things that they do, and it can be like a precursor to certain behaviors. And I looked that up, and it came out to be true. I found out that it was, I guess I'm going to say it's a sign of mental illness, but in a way it's not, I don't mean just because your eye twitch, you have mental illness, but it's, how can I say, prevalent in people who have mental illness. And it's more of a neurotic thing. And so I was like, oh, no, And she turned out to be the biggest pathological liar I've ever met in my entire life. And kind of had like, I'd say maybe sociopathic tendencies, but in a way, not really. I wouldn't consider her a sociopath, but she kind of had those kind of tendencies. Like she would do certain things, but then she would try to, oh, well, I'm sorry, or back out of it, and a true sociopath doesn't do that. They don't care what they do. They have no regard. And it just got to the point, she would make up little lies or little things every single day. And I would, like, she would try to confront me and I would correct her. I was like, point out whatever it was. I can't even remember. It's like hundreds of incidents that happened. And she would, because she didn't think about, when you make up a lie, you have to be good at it. Don't make up a lie that people can prove you wrong. And she would just turn and walk away. It would happen all the time. And then somebody told her I wanted her job, which I do not want. And she started treating me like garbage for like a whole week. And she did it in front of everybody. And she was real rude and loud to me, like would call me out across the room. And she used to not do that. And it happened in a resident's room. And even after she left, the resident turned to me and said, "Why was she so rude to you? She was yelling at you. Why was she so rude? Why did she treat you that way?" And I told her, I think she's trying to fire me or make me quit, or I don't know what. Something's happening. And after about 2 weeks, she was getting more and more frustrated because I wouldn't like get into a fight and argue with her. I was just taking it, and that kind of drives people crazy who really want to get into a fight or a conflict with you when you won't do it. That just makes them crazier. And finally, she came up to me and told me that the administrator said that I didn't clean a room, that he just walked into a room and said I didn't clean it. And I was like, what? And she was doing it kind of in a very whispery kind of way in the hallway. And there was people at both ends, nurses and people, and she was trying to say it real quiet like that. So they couldn't hear what she was telling me. And I was being kind of, I mean, not loud, I wasn't yelling, but I was being very specifically, very clear about what I was saying. I would say it in a kind of a loud way, like, he said, what? Okay, now what did he say? Where were y'all standing? And I kept questioning her about it for about 5 minutes. I mean, it just went on. And I thought, finally she would break down and, get frustrated. But she just kept, yes, he said you didn't clean it. Like that. She didn't want anybody hearing her telling me this because it was a lie. Because an administrator would not do that. They don't go around just saying that you didn't do something. And he was a new administrator, and I just knew he didn't say it. I really liked him. He was trying to clean some things up, and he was changing some rules, but you have to be careful in a nursing home because the residents there, they're older, and sometimes they're not very adaptable to change. So you try not to upset, their balance that they already have. And I just kept telling her, what do you mean? He said, I didn't clean it. What do you mean? I just kept saying it in so many different ways. And she just didn't, like, she thought she was manipulating me, like I was believing her, but I wasn't. And just the way in her mind it was, I could tell, like, she was thinking, like, the more she was talking, the more I was believing her, but it was the total opposite. And so I just ended it, and she left, and I heard him, he wore cowboy boots, and I heard him click, click, click down the hallway, and I ran after him, and I told him what happened, and I mean, just right then, I caught him within like 5 seconds around the corner, and I told him, and he goes, no, I didn't say that. He said, I asked if something had been done to this room, and he was asking for a specific detail, not criticizing my job, And I said, I know that. I know you didn't do it, but she's lying about it. And I told him this whole situation that was going on, everything that was happening. And I said, she's doing it on purpose. I don't know why, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. And, he said he was going to talk to her, and when you start a job at a nursing home as an administrator, it's kind of difficult because you have to make sure you don't mess up too much. Like I say, the balance, you can't change too much really quickly, but he was trying to fix a lot of problems, and I really did like him, and I liked the way he was doing things. He was making things a little stricter for certain people, which that was fine with me because a lot of people weren't doing their jobs right. So I wasn't bothered by that. And he said, I'm going to get to her. I've got so much to do. I was like, I know, but I really want this attended to immediately because I'm tired of this. I'm sick and tired of her. And I told him, she's a pathological liar. She does it all the time. I'm just sick of it. And I said, I know you don't know her or a lot of people here very well, but this has been going on for the entire time I've been working here with her, the little lies and the stupid little stuff. I was like, I'm just sick of it. And her inability to deal with the other employees, I'm tired of that, and I want something done about it. He goes, I'll do something. Don't worry, I'm gonna attend to it. And as time went on, I don't think he really did. I think he was so busy, and he really did make the place a lot better. I did like everything he did. And I just had to bite the bullet and trying to get through it. And the final incident was, we got called into a meeting with her, and it was me, her, and this other lady, the one who always showed up late and didn't do anything and would sit down, take 3 breaks a day. And my boss was either unaware of it or didn't care. And in addition to her other break and her lunch break. So she only worked probably like half of the time that she was there, maybe like 4 hours a day. And the rest of it, she sat down. And this lady, she got mad and started telling me, everybody hates you. I hate you. Everybody hates you. This whole place hates you. And you're so awful, and just really rude things to me, yelling it. And then she started like waving her fist saying, I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hit you. But she was like 4'9", so it'd be like me getting into a fight with like a 8-year-old. So I couldn't do anything. So I just had to stand there and stand back, and my boss was standing not between us, but to the side, kind of between us. And she just turned and looked at me and said, no. And I just looked at her like, and this lady, she was kind of slowly moving towards me like a turtle. Like she wanted to hit me, but she was afraid to hit me. But I just stood there, and I was just going to take it, and because I would have called the police and had her arrested for assault. And my boss expected me to fight back or do something, so she just kind of stood there for a couple of seconds and just looked at me and then looked at her, and then she finally stepped in between us. Like, there was only maybe like a foot. Finally, that lady was like kind of trying to hit me like that, but she didn't. She knew that she would get in trouble, but stepped in between us and pushed her back, and I just kept standing there. And then I wrote a 3-page letter complaining about everything to Human Resources, and I guess they were talking to my boss, but they really didn't do anything, and they didn't do anything about the incident, because I thought this would be the final straw, and my boss would see that this lady shouldn't be here. She should be fired for threatening me and threatening to assault me. And she said, she made threats like, I'm going to do something to you. You think I won't do something to you? I'm going to hit you, all this. Which, I mean, I didn't get scared or nothing. She was like a little old shriveled up turtle. But it was like the last straw. And I got transferred to a different department. But, I mean, there were so many incidents there. It was like every single day something would happen. And my boss had no ability to delegate her authority. And the constant lying. It was just the constant lying I couldn't stand. And I think she got mad one time because I had a bronchial infection and I was coughing so bad I was about to cough my lungs out. And the nurse was in the break room with me, and my boss was in there with another person, and she was like talking, and I was over there dying in my chair. My head was hanging to the floor. Like I couldn't hardly breathe. And the nurse came in, "What's wrong with you? What's wrong?" And she told my boss, she's sick. She can't be working here. In a nursing home, if you're sick, you're really sick, you shouldn't come to work, because there's vulnerable people there that, they can get even sicker. And my boss was like, oh, got all upset. She didn't want to send me home. And then finally the nurse told her, she can't be working here. So I rode my bike to the clinic. I had severe bronchial infection with bronchitis, and I have to watch that when I get it, because I can get pneumonia real easily. So I was out for 3 days for that, and which made her even madder. And I had a doctor's note, and just any little thing after that, after the incident where they told her that I was going to take her job over, for 2 weeks she treated me like crap, and it was just unbearable. And which wasn't true, because I did not want her job at all. And I couldn't get it through her head. No, I don't. I have no intention. It was just a real messed up and stupid situation. But that's one of the worst bosses I've ever had. And I'm so glad that I left, and so glad I live 2 blocks away from this lady. And I see her house almost every day. Sometimes I see her in the front yard. Ugh. And I saw her in a public place one other time, a few months after I quit working there. And she tried to be nice to me. Like, she thought, like, I don't know. I mean, she was so awful to me. And just the feeling that she left me with. Because at first we were kind of like, I want to say friends, because I never become friends with my bosses. But I thought we had a nice rapport, I guess you could say. Working relationship. And it just totally broke down. Just the more I got to know her, and the way she lied, the constant lying and backstabbing, and I just hated her now. I can't stand her. And, well, that's one of the worst bosses I've ever had. And this video is so long, I'm going to leave now. Bye-bye.